First thing we got to talk about is this team that's putting this game together. You know, here we got the Cannon brothers, right? Tom and Tony, and these guys are basically the founders of the FGC. Honestly, these guys put together Battle of the Bays, which soon to be known as Evo, over with Seth Killian, and these guys know a thing or two about what people want from a fighting game. You know, Evo, when you think Evo, you think Street Fighter, but you know, Evo over the course of like what 10 plus years, probably 15 years now, and they do Street Fighter, they do Tekken, Marvel, they do a lot of different fighting games, and they've seen and made adjustments for the betterment of the community over time, and they pretty much know what people want in terms of a fighting game. I can't imagine a better group of people to put together. And I also heard they got Marlon Pie on the team too. That guy's he's a tech monster. I don't even want to call him a lab monster, because his ability to like execute just like cool combo stuff. Just look him up. His work in Marvel, his work in Strive with Zato. His ability to just play high execution characters is just kind of off the charts. He's very consistent, and that's not even just in like a lab setting. He'll like clearly go in tournament and do the exact same thing. Big people pleaser, you know. So I'm pretty sure I can't think of a better team to put together a game that, one, is going to be good, but two, people are going to want to see, understand, and enjoy. And more importantly, right, we always talk about the stress on tournament organizers. They're probably going to help develop a system along with Riot where people can, you know, comfortably participate in a tournament setting. God, they did such a good job on this trailer. Shout outs to Arcane, great show, by the way. Right, so let me just, yeah, so just with those few clips right here, right, it's like become very clear that the game is going to be, first, it's going to be faster than like a Street Fighter, right? But it's also not going to be as insane as like a, you know, a Marvel, right? A Marvel game. Here, let me go ahead and do it like this, right? It's not going to be like a Marvel, right? Where it's just like, what is happening? Where is my health going? It seems relatively tame, but the characters aren't weak also, like in Dragon Ball, right? We're going to see a sequence later, or this sequence here with Echo, where he has full access to like a full combo set, and he pulls out Ari for the assist, but she doesn't really need to. And later on, he does like a mix sequence where he doesn't even need the he doesn't even need an assist to do powerful mix. So I don't think it's going to be a Dragon Ball Fighters versus game. But it won't necessarily be a Marvel versus game either, because it seemed to be relatively tame, at least now. So, you know, a lot of people are asking, what is this game going to be similar to? And I think this game is going to be very, very similar to Street Fighter Cross Tekken, actually the I guess you could call it the black sheep of the Street Fighter series over the course of the years. That game actually had some pretty cool stuff going on, namely its tag system. Actually, I believe it was called the Cross System. I'm not quite sure. I'm sure it was called the Cross System, you know, to fit the name. But what you could do in that game is basically start a combo with a certain character and then switch into another character too, to kind of extend it depending on if the kits kind of mesh that kind of way, right? And so they've added that system with an assist system, and then we get something super, super cool and really, really unique. So if you guys really want to figure out, like, if you want to start practicing for this game, if you're like that crazy about it, you should definitely go check out Street Fighter Cross Tekken, because they're pulling a lot of different things from the game, but they're doing a lot of new stuff here too, right? So there's a couple of things we got to note, right? So first of all, they may make special moves like easier to do, but I don't think it's going to be that big a deal. Another thing I really wanted to talk about here, and it's very brief, is this right here. So we got Darius here doing apprehend, and then he does a slash follow-up. But what I really want you guys to pay attention to is the A3, right? So I'm starting to think that not only are we going to have certain buttons or certain normals, like I think it's going to be, well, I think it's pretty confirmed it's going to be a 4-button fighter, but even more so, what's going to make this game unique is that there's also going to be abilities similar to the abilities in Rising Thunder. So you'll see in the bottom left-hand corner here, actually, A, B, and Y. I wonder if these are alpha, beta, and like omega or something, or gamma. But anyway, in this game, you have special moves that you do by pressing the ability button, right? And I think what they decided to do is take that feature, and in ProjectL, what they're actually going to allow us to do is we're going to have our normals, and then we're also going to have abilities. And these are going to be separate from our special moves. The abilities are going to focus on the identity of the characters, like already inside of the League of Legends universe. And I think they show us with Echo here is going to be able to do like some really cool stuff with this like going back in time wander thing. And I think what's going to be really, really cool about this game is that not only we're going to have assist, And not only are we going to be able to switch on the fly, similar to Street Fighter Cross Tekken, but we're also going to have abilities. And this is going to be really, really cool because in fighting games, you typically, you have your normals, you have your special moves, and you have your supers, basically, right? You may have a mechanic that kind of binds it all together, even on offense or defense, right? But this is going to be really neat, really, really neat, because if we have abilities, right, abilities can be pretty flexible, right? They can be pretty strong because we can have them, they can have cooldowns similar to Rising Thunder or the actual League of Legends. And I'm really, really excited to see what they do with this, because they may even take it a step further and they may make it to where you can equip certain abilities, again, similar to their other the other games like, you know, League of Legends, Summoner's Rift, or you can particularly build out a certain type of character or a certain type of composition, because it is a 2v2 game, similar to Runterra or TFT. And I think that's going to be really, really neat. Yeah, I think that's what they're going to do. I think there's going to be normals, special moves, and then there's also going to be abilities. And this is going to be really cool. And you're going to have assist, and you're going to be able to switch in between your two characters on the fly. So we're going to get something we've actually never, ever seen before. So even if you go play Street Fighter Cross Tekken, you actually won't get the full experience until we actually get the game, honestly, because there's nothing else like it. It's got Street Fighter Cross Tekken, like switching, like tag mechanics. It still has the pacing kinda of a Capcom or like a Street Fighter. Like, look how fast Echo's swinging here. It's not that fast, right? So it's not like, you know, Marvel 2-frame, 4-frame buttons, right? It's gonna have a pretty reasonable speed to it. If anything, as far as the solo characters go, in terms of strength and speed and flow, I think it's gonna be similar to a Guilty Gear in terms of in all those terms. And then when you think about the assist system, it's gonna be like Cross Tekken. It's like it's gonna be Cross Tekken-ish in a way, how you're gonna be switching between the two characters. The only question is when you can do the assist, because in Dragon Ball FighterZ, you can actually do the assist when you are in the air, right? Like if you're in the air. But in Marvel, if you do a super jump, you can't actually do the assist. So I'm wondering, we'll have to take a deeper look here in a minute and see if you can actually call an assist while you're airborne, or what state you're in the air, and able to call assist, because that's pretty much going to determine how strong characters are. Because if you're able to go airborne and call an assist, it may get fucking, the character's going to be just even stronger in that way. And then we start to leave the Cross Tekken realm or the Street Fighter-ish feeling of the game, and we start going into like anime fighter territory. Because I know Echo has an air dash, Ari has some kind of air dash thing, but I'm not quite certain if everyone else gets access to this. So yeah, it's kind of weird. And again, so I guess to answer the question of what game is it similar to, it's basically nothing. No other game is it only 2v2. You get assist. You can swap back in and out, and there's going to be abilities. And we don't even know if they're going to allow 4 players to play, like a player can control each character independently, because in Cross Tekken you definitely could, and they're obviously pulling from that as well. So I'm not quite certain what they want to do here. I know a lot of people are comparing it to Marvel Infinite, and that is a super fair comparison. So we just got to see. We got to see how much they're going to lean into this ability system. I really hope they do. The fact that it said ability 3 is literally what we see here, right? You have A, B, and Y. Like, that's going to be huge. I want to see what they do there. One of the things they talk about later, too, is is they talk about how they're going to use their Ride Direct system in combination with rollback, right? And this opens up a bunch of doors to a bunch of different people, because normally when you think fighting game played at its highest level, you think offline, right? But you know, Riot supports all kinds of competitive circuits, you know, in League of Legends, TFT, Runterra, and Valorant, and they have no problem, like, how do I put this, having that circuit be played almost entirely online. To an extent, they do offline events as well, but the competitive integrity that's allowed to exist because of just how good their netcode is across the board is really gonna open things up. Because as it is right now, basically, if you want to participate in a lot of different like events, right, you have to play offline. Obviously, we've made some changes to that formula because of COVID, but you know, as it was before, is you had to go out and travel, and that shit was expensive. But right, being able to just, if you just get good at the game and you just play online, right, and the line between online and offline is just going to be so blurred according to what we're already seeing here and what we know is possible with Strive. Like, you don't have to go to tournament. You don't have to go to a fucking offline event to participate at the highest level. Now, I think that's going to be really, really cool because, like, going to compete is really cool and all, but, like, I don't know. I mean, if you really, I mean, it's just, I've gone to these events and it's like, man, like, I'm here for the competition, but like other people are here for this other shit that isn't competing, and I'm like, I'm not about that. Like, I just want to play the fucking game, you know? And I feel like as long as I can just play this online, I can just focus on getting better and better and better. And then, you know, just like they do with the other games, they'll invite you or allow you to compete, you know, in offline events or even, you know, online events for like their worlds or something like that. And I think that's going to be really, really cool. People can focus, people who want to just focus on getting good can just focus on getting good and not having to deal with some of the politics that occurs when you have to play in an offline setting. But I don't think playing offline will go anywhere because it is the FGC we're talking about. But I think it's going to be really, really good for me. It's going to be really, really good for me, at least. And people like myself who like, yo, I'm not about to pay, you know, $30 for gas, pay for the venue fee, and then, you know, stay in this place I never been to for like 4 or 5 hours. Like, that shit's cool when you're like 20, but like, I'm not trying to do that shit. Like, I'm fucking getting old, bruh. Like, I'm not trying to hang out at this place. I'm just trying to I need the competition. I ain't trying to hang out, bro. I don't know you. Anyway. Anyway, I'm ready for this fucking super good netcode and this really great ranking system that's actually gonna matter, right? Because, you know, in most of these fighting games, the ranking systems only support a level of competitive integrity up to a certain point. Brian L put out a pretty good video. He's like, I don't know what it was. Whatever was above diamond, like once you get to that level in Street Fighter, it takes so long to get to the next rank. Basically, your goal shifts from, okay, I don't want the rank. I don't want the actual title itself. I just need to focus on like improving, right? So there's kind of this disparity between like when you're at the lower level and you get to the higher level, because it's like your reward system gets different. You have to kind of do things a different way. And some people can make that transition and some people can't, right? But we know in League of Legends, right, like the climb is the climb, no matter what, all the way up to the top, right? I know people like say, well, diamond doesn't matter. Well, it doesn't fucking matter. Like, it's just, I like League of Legends rank system the best, and I think it makes people super, super competitive, for better or worse. And I'm super, super hyped for it. So it'll be really, really cool to see what they do. I wonder if Riot will do their own offline thing, similar to Worlds. You know, when COVID's not that big an issue globally. And what is EVO going to do to compete? What is Sony's EVO going to do to compete? It's going to be kind of interesting to see what happens there. But anyway, another thing they don't talk about, but is totally on the table, is 2v2. I'm not quite sure how they're going to go about doing 2v2, but I think what they should allow is each individual player to control a certain character. I don't know if this has to be the primary mode, but they should definitely allow it as a secondary mode. Because one of the greatest things in Street Fighter X Tekken was being able to queue up with your homies. Yeah, that was just one of the greatest things ever, because as you guys already know, fighting games are cool and all, but like, you know, if you win, the person that you beat is just going to come back stronger until you lose eventually, right? They're going to be hungrier than you are because they're the one who held the L, and then you're going to hold the L, and then you're going to train up, and then you're eventually going to beat them. That's typically how it's going to go. So there's this eternal struggle, and it's super cool, and it allows for these super great narratives. Like, you know, we just saw Chris, what was it? Chris CCH, I think is the full name. But we saw Chris CH over at Red Bull Kumite, like, go through his own little, like, I guess you could say hero or villain arc, depending on how you perceive his actions. But like, that's really cool that that's able to exist. But like, you know, not everyone is trying to do that, like play this game all day, every day. And I think there's a bunch of different ways to enjoy a fighting game. And I think one of the ways to do that is let people play on the same team. And that's what Street Fighter X Tekken allowed us to do. So like, you know, even though it is an eternal struggle, which, you know, and you're growing all the time in fighting games, and that's why it's really cool, and you get an immediate payout for the practice you put in, but sometimes it really sucks. And having someone to lose with is going to make it that much better. Like, you can lose with the homies all the time, as I like to say, you know, and you still have a certain level of agency because it is a fighting game. And like I said, these characters are strong, independent of their assists. So they don't necessarily, like, if your homie's not as good as you and they keep losing their side of the fight, as long as you're able to do your thing, you're still going to have a good time, right? Unlike, you know, League of Legends, where like you can go You can go 20-1, but like if your bot lane's 4-30, like it's a wrap. It's a fucking wrap. So I think another thing that we're gonna see in the evolution of this game, hopefully it comes out on the base release, but it doesn't have to. This is Riot. They'll probably evolve it or put it in as a feature and let the community run with it if they want. Is a mode where each player control each character independently, similar to Street Fighter Cross Tekken in a way. And I think that another thing that we are not talking about that we really need to be talking about is the fact that this game will most likely be free to play. It'll work on a potato, and it's going to actually have content coming out at a rate that's going to be like a mainstream game, like Fortnite, like actual League of Legends, right? When I think fighting games right now, I don't think of, outside of the like competitive nature of them, there's no draw. And what I mean is there's no, there's almost nothing to do by yourself. You have to find somebody to play with. Some of these fighting games have story modes. I mean, Street Fighter 5 story modes, Monka Dunka, Tekken 7's story mode. They're not very good. They're not very fleshed out. Now, Mortal Kombat, though, and NetherRealm games, actually, they make really, really good story modes, right? They have this adaptation of Injustice going on, right? This animated thing. I need to go catch that. But anyway, there's not much substance out there for fighting games in terms of like single player or offline content. And we know that Riot is all about like giving people different ways to play their game, right? You got, outside of playing Summoner's Rift on League, you got Earth, you got ARAM, you got ARF, you got, they got new game modes like every weekend. Like they want people to experience the game in different ways. And like the Cannon brothers say, I don't know if it was Tom or Tony, they say we want to unlock the fun at all levels. And so I just think the level of the standard for what a fighting game must have is going to just reach a level we haven't seen before. Because I don't know if they'll put a story mode in the game, but they'll definitely put in alternate modes. I just don't know what the hell they would be for a fighting game. Maybe they'll do what I said, which is the equivalent of scramble mode and Street Fighter Cross Tekken. That may be too cancerous though, but I don't know. They're totally fine with making the game like ridiculously over the top. But there is most likely going to be a way to experience this game like in a PvE setting. And the question is it going to be story mode, gonna be arcade mode, something we've never even seen before. Maybe they'll do like the ghost mode in Samurai Showdown. That'd be really cool. They could definitely do it. But I think the bar's gonna get raised very, very high. And I've seen a lot of people say like the game devs of the current fighting games, namely you got ArcSys, right? You got Capcom, is it Bandai Namco that does Tekken, or I think it's Bandai Namco, but the people who make Tekken, the people who make Soul Calibur, like, what the fuck are they gonna do now? And I don't think there's anything they can do, because there's no way I'm gonna pay $60 for. I'll pay $60 for Street Fighter 6, but like, if I'm 14 years old and like, I got a laptop that's not even a gaming laptop, like, I'm not about to pay $60 for the Street Fighter 6 that ain't gonna run on my computer. It costs $60. They're gonna want me to buy the season pass, right? There's not gonna be content on the same cycle. There's gonna be the culture that's gonna be allowed to thrive and exist because the game is just so fucking accessible, and the amount of like, Riot got the money. So like, if you want to go the professional route, or if you want to go the route of the content creator, even, you're gonna just be rewarded more for doing so. I'm gonna go play the free game. Like, I just don't see a reason why I would play Street Fighter 6 if I wasn't already introduced to Street Fighter beforehand, honestly. Right now, it would make sense to dip your toe in it, but like to do like a full-on commitment, like we see some of these pros today who've been playing for like 10, 20 years, that shit, I don't think that's gonna happen no more. I can see myself playing Street Fighter for the rest of my life. I love me some Ryu, but like, for example, like I wanted to like King of Fighters 15, and I played the beta this weekend, but I just told myself after I saw that, I was like, I don't have to want to like King of Fighters anymore. I got options now. I have limitless content. And I would love to hear what y'all think. I don't know what Street Fighter 6 can do for the newer audiences that Riot isn't gonna just do anyway. Oh, wait, maybe 4 abilities, boys. Anyway, that's we'll get to that. But yeah, a lot of people thinking like, you know, is this game gonna die? And what is I don't know what's going to die. Fighting games are already niche, so they're kind of already hard to kill, if that makes sense. People, like I say, like we're already used to not having anything, so we're pretty, what's the word? We're used to, like, just the grassrooty nature of fighting games, if that makes sense. So I don't think, people will stop playing Tekken, people will stop playing Street Fighter, people will stop playing Skullgirls. Like, that's just not going to stop, but the amount of impact they're going to be allowed to have is going to be minimized because Riot's just going to be louder. Their impact is just going to be greater because they have more resources to do so. And I think it's going to become very, very evident over time. And I'm really excited to see how Capcom, Bandai Namco. I think Arceus is fine. They're really smart about things. So, but I'm really excited to see what all these these older games we grew up with. Like, how are they going to adapt? Like, are they going to try to go to a free-to-play business model? I don't think Street Fighter could handle it. I don't think they could do it. But maybe Capcom has that fight and the little card game, right? Is that free to play? That shit better be free to play. It better be free to play. But yeah, I'm excited to see what they do. I personally really love all the characters in League of Legends. As you guys know, it took 5 to 6 years of my life, and for me to realize that the game is fantastic, but the culture is terrible. So there's no real place for me to grow as a person in it anymore. I did my time, as we like to say. I'm sure as you apparently 90% of our regulars here play League of Legends, so I guess we all did our fucking time. But the characters though, right? No one can doubt these characters have ridiculously good backstories. Arcane is clearly showing if they want to do that form of storytelling, they can do it very, very well. I don't know. You can't make Street Fighter that interesting, bro. You just can't. I don't even know anyone in Street Fighter that could be as deep as literally any of the main characters in Arcane. I just don't fucking see it. No, they just kind of hit stuff. I'm kind of dumbing it down, but I don't know. But there's always room for reinvention, right? I think one thing that Street Fighter always does well is reinvent themselves. So if it was time to reinvent themselves, it'd be right fucking now. But I think they may have been too deep into the Street Fighter 6 production cycle to really do any major changes. But this was announced. ProjectL was at least announced in 2019, I believe, is when we first caught wind of it. So they had plenty of time to be like, oh, fuck, they're coming, right? But they've been doing things a certain way for so long. They probably can't really change up what the fuck they're doing. And again, Capcom doesn't need to be the premier fighting game anymore. They've already done their time, right? They already got me. They already got a lot of us. I'm gonna buy Street Fighter 6. Am I gonna play it? Even if it's really fucking good, I'm gonna be like, hey, Capcom, how much money you giving me for this tournament? Oof. I don't know, man. You know what I'm saying? It's but I don't know. There's no doubt in my mind. Even if Street Fighter 6 is phenomenal, there's no way this game won't be just as good, Like I said, they got Cannon Brothers, Killian, and Marlon Pie. They literally, Killian used to work for Capcom as the community manager for a time, right? So, they know these guys aren't just, nobodies. They know how to get the people going. And I can't imagine them making a game that isn't going to be out of this fucking world. And they're going to have this creative freedom, because what Riot really allows people to do in these positions, they give them the freedom to do new things. They definitely say, hey, this is what people really like, so you're going to do this, but I'm going to allow you to flex this idea pretty well, right? And then so you have the experience, you have the creative freedom, enough creative freedom, and then you have the the finances. So I like to call this the perfect storm. One of the things that led to Mass Effect was a similar thing. They had BioWare had the creative freedom, they had the experience because they were doing Knights of the Old Republic, I believe, and a bunch of other games before that were kind of good, that were good, obviously. And then you know, they had the finances, right? So like, I think this may be the example of the perfect storm, and I think this may be the game that propels fighting games to the mainstream finally, because I think every other genre is pretty much up there. You know, you got the MOBAs, you got your shooters, you got your MMOs, like all of these have representation of like in pop culture even, but not even pop culture, just in, you know, the greater media world, if you will. And I think fighting games are starting to get to that point, but I think in order to bridge it, we just need some more money. We just need some more money. So we're finally gonna get the money, you know, or, you know, the 10 cents got our back, you know what I'm saying? And so I'm really excited to see what happens if they do the each player controls each character route similar to Cross Tekken, you know, instead of seeing like instead of being like the next, there's no really, no. So like, instead of being like the first fighting game fighting games ninja, right? It may be like fighting games ninja and I don't know, fighting game ninja 2. Like there could be 2 people who cross their bridge to mainstream, and we see them in movies, and you know, you see them on the news, and you go to Walmart and you see their brand. That'd be really, really cool. I would buy some Sage Jam. I would buy Sage Jam. I would buy some Sage Jam socks. I'd be seeing Sage Jam socks at, I mean, not Sage, I'd be seeing ninja socks at Walmart. I'm like, damn, this guy really did it. You know, I'd be super down just to support the homie, because I know Sage Jam works his fucking ass off. A lot of people work their fucking ass off, but you know, we're pretty grassroots, and it's because either we're, you know, we got Nintendo saying, hey, don't take this seriously, or we got Capcom saying you can't talk about the netcode, and there's only so much amount of money in the ecosystem that's allowed, because like, you know, the competitive scene is cool and all, but that's not where the money is. Like Capcom's not going to invest the big bucks, right? But the level of production value that Riot would like. Anyway, enough talking about the money. We just know the money's coming, and I'm really, really excited. And I don't know what the hell Street Fighter 6 could do to make me interested in their characters, because they're kind of fucking outdated. But again, if they reinvent themselves, they could do it, and that'd be really, really cool. But anyway, so let's talk about the mechanics real quick. Let's talk about the mechanics. So already out the gate, so this is a long jump of some kind. It's a pretty dynamic animation, so you can clearly tell, like, he ran into this jump, and that arc was really nice. And then he alters the arc with an air dash again, like a hop even. Like a KOF like double jump hop, right? Like that was fucking OD. That's the first thing we gotta know. So we got air dashes on certain characters, and then Jinx does, you know, this sequence here. This is a demon flip, and the way we know it's a demon flip is she does this. This is like her in an aerial stance. She goes for the overhead follow-up, and she's gonna do it again. Then she does it again, shoots the rocket off the floor, but this time she goes for the projectile. So I'm already loving this, because, you know, this demon flip here, she went forward and backwards, and she was able to do an overhead. She probably gets a grab off of it too, but she can also back up and then go for this zoning or zoner option, which is really, really dope. Usually the characters are only allowed to go forward in that instance, or they're only allowed to go backwards, right? Because they're a zoner, but she was able to do both. And that goes to show how much of the character power level is gonna be, or how cursed the game could be later on. But anyway, let's move on to the next sequence here, right? And so this is really fucking neat. So she calls the assist while she's in the middle of a special move, right? So that's important. And this is and they try to tell us without telling us. He's jumping. I don't know what kind of jump this is. I don't think they let us see. And this is kind of this is a normal jump. This is like a normal jump. Now notice, this is a different animation than the one we saw before. Way different, right? So this isn't, so there are long jumps. There's totally long jumps, but he was able to call the assist off of a normal jump. That's important. So that means that if you aren't, the only thing that you may not be able to call an assist off of is the long jump that we saw earlier, or super jump if that's in the game. We haven't seen the camera kind of move up yet, so chances are there's probably only hops maybe and long jumps. And then they did the classic, right? So we have this may be an auto combo, right? I don't think anyone's saying anything about the auto. This screams Arxis formula. What they've managed to do for a lot of the people that are starting out is like make very hit confirmable kind of things. And you see this in Melty too. When you hit your launcher in Dragon Ball, the screen goes boom. So you're like, okay, I did the thing, right? When you get the counter hit in Guilty Gear, it's like boom, I did the thing, right? And even in Melty, when you hit your launcher, it's like boom. You're like, you know what must follow from this point on. So they're really helping people hit confirm. I really like that. It's very subtle. When I played KOF, there was nothing to indicate certain confirms, and I was like, oof, I don't like this. Right, it's not that I couldn't get good at it with enough practice, but it was like, damn, just like help me out a little bit, like, so we can streamline the part that actually matters, right? Which is probably the combos. And so this is really interesting too. And so this is not like, how do I put this? This is the part that's like cross Tekken. So he does a launcher, and then she comes out, and this is not an assist. She's in full control right now, and she's going off, right? She's doing a combo. So this is very cross Tekken. You know, you do light, medium, heavy, and then you do launch, and that pulls out your homie, and then you start going ham. So this is not like you can't do a combo like this really in Marvel. If you want to do something like this in Marvel 3, I haven't played Infinite, but if you want to do something like this in Marvel 3, you have to do like the team aerial combo, right? But you have to wait till you get up there to even do it. This is literally directly from Cross Tekken, this immediate switch into action. That was fucking dope. Right, really cool. Basic combo structure here. Excellent. And another thing here, right? Some of these combos last not that long, right? Most of the combos haven't lasted long. That is super liable to change, but one thing they aren't showing us so far is how the characters, if the characters can tech in the air. As in, can they recover if they hold a button in the air, similar to Dragon Ball or anime fighters in general, right? And I don't think that's what they're going to do. I think they're going for a Guilty Gear Strive kind of vibe, where it's like you get hit in the air. Once you get launched or whenever you get hit, like they have free reign. They just boom, 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 bam. Which leads me to believe, okay, that there's going to be a burst system. And I think one of the burst systems in Strive and Arc, that, you know, it's an addition arcs in game. That's one of the best things to add in a fighting game, because to me, when I'm getting hit or when someone's getting hit, I don't feel like just watching you hit me. Let's keep things interesting. I think what the burst mechanic does is, like, if it's available, of course, is it creates this mini game, right? Where, like, will my opponent just do their combo like normal? Where they alter their combo structure to kind of bait the burst, you know? And, like, it raises the question, at which point when we get hit do we burst? There's this kind of extra mini game on defense, or while you're being hit. It's not even really defense. Once you've lost the defense, you've already getting hit, that we're able to play, right? And I think that's going to be available in this game too. And the reason why I think so, because in Rising Thunder, what you could do is choose to have certain offensive capabilities, or you could choose to have defensive capabilities. And I think if you chose the defensive option, you got access to a burst. It was legit a burst. And yeah, I'm really excited to see. I think there's going to be something similar in this game, because they've already experimented with that with Rising Thunder, and this game has a lot of Rising Thunder in it. Now this here is really, really neat. This here is really, really neat. This is a fucking guard crush. Wait, oh, this is a parry. Yo, what? He swung. He swung. She blocked it, and then and look what happens to him. He got guard crushed. Then she had time to walk, dash, punish. Oh, there could be parries, ladies and gentlemen. Oh my god. Oh my god. I didn't even notice that at first. And then look at this move here. See how she goes straight down? This is a very... Look at this. Like, OTG states are confirmed. So, again, more reason for me to believe you cannot just tech in the air. The only time you be able to... At this point, if you could tech in the air, it's only in extreme instances. And, of course, this isn't the full build of the game. But, you know, if it was going to be a feature, this would have happened. Boom. So, we got /1. Down slash. Like, this is totally fine with me. So what are we gonna have? Normals, and then we're gonna have buttons. But look at this, it says A1, and this is in yellow, right? Why is that in yellow, but later on we're gonna see A3 and it's in red? It doesn't make any sense. But I'm pretty confident A3 is just gonna be the ability button. It's not an assist button, you know? If it is, okay, if it's an ability button, you may get multiple abilities. If it's the assist button, that means you may get 3 or 4 assists, which would be even cooler. Either way, right? With the ability to have multiple assists available, like in real time, oh my god, that would allow for so much more flexibility. Because in Dragon Ball, you get to choose one assist. That's the only assist you get, right, per character. And in Marvel, you know, you got the same thing, right? But if we can get access to 3 abilities, or 4, I mean 3 different assists or 4 different assists, it'd be really, really neat. And if it's ability based, it's still neat too. Or if you have the choice to do either.
Absolutely believe in rewarding the time you spend going deep on a character and providing opportunity.
And again, we don't get to see any kind of like different wake up options from the opponent.
Showcase your high-end mastery. One of the delights of fighting games is seeing top players move and fight
OTG. See, and even so we saw wall bounce, and then we saw an OTG stay. Here's the wall bounce, here's the OTG stay, so that was them clearly doing it. And then watch this here. So he's in the middle of a roll, similar to Guilty Gear, and look, boom, knockup. Like, it's so Guilty Gear. Strive. Like, that was super dope. That was super fucking dope. Unlocking the fun at all skill levels, bro. And so, again, I just want them to tell me there's gonna be some way to experience the game, like in an offline setting. Not an offline, because I'll ride his own, but I mean like by myself. Characters look really good. You can tell from the art style that it's gonna work similar to Dragon Ball. It's cell shading, right? In Dragon Ball works kind of on a potato, so it won't require too much from your computer. And in this here, oh my god, this sequence here, this was it. This has got to be Marlin Pie right here. Look at this shit, right? So that kind of swinging, but not swinging into dash. Only can you be able to whiff cancel in the dash? But anyway, look at these dashes. They're very short, but like in terms of duration. But look how much space you're covering, and look how fast he was able to do one into the other. Look at that. He jumped backwards, air dash, right? Like, it's so good. It's so good. This is the Marvel movement right here, 100%. This could just be an Echo thing, but you see how fast it is? Oh, it's gonna be so good.
That's a pretty good when Echo slashes right,
and this is why I love, like, if it comes out on release and it's not phenomenal, it'll just be phenomenal later. And you know the rate at which it will refine itself is it's faster than any other thing. It's not gonna take a month. You know, it's gonna take, I'm sorry, it's not gonna take several months. It's gonna be like, yo, fix this. They're gonna be like, yo, everyone say fix this, it's fucking fixed. Here's a skin, by the way, not a color pack. And this is what I was talking about, right? Look how much he was able to do by himself. Now, clearly there are gaps here. If Darius wanted to hit him, he probably could, right? But maybe he can't, right? Because he may be have some iframes on those rolls. But either way, oh, and this is important too. This is broken, by the way. And this is why I think it's going to be abilities. I think this is why these are abilities. So let's take a look. So let's take a look at this sequence here. They're very subtle, but they tell us so much. So he does what I'm assuming is an ability, not a special move. Can I see him buffer the input? They're very good. They're very good on like not letting us see inputs be buffered. So anyway, either way, assuming this is an ability, this also means that you can do a special into an assist, right? So that's like Dragon Ball, right? So that's gonna be really, really neat. Can't do that in Marvel. Like, you can't be doing repulsor blast with Magneto and then call the assist. The assist has to be called beforehand, I believe. Let me know if I'm wrong, but I had a Marvel phase recently, and I'm pretty confident you can't do that. It's very weird because I come from Dragon Ball and I was like, yo, why can't I do my assist? And again, like, Darius isn't flipping out here or showing any indication of flipping out, and the fact that they even have this mechanic where like he can alter the gravity scaling on the attack is like, I guarantee you cannot air tech in this game, which I'm totally fine with, because that most likely means burst is going to be available, and it may be something that's an option, right? Because they may go like, oh well, you have abilities and you have summoner spells. Well, no, you won't have summoner spells. This is fucking not League. Oh, it is League. What the fuck? Yo, no, you can have summoner spells. I don't know why I thought this was something else.
Both of these moves, our approach is to give you a tool with a clear primary role.
And the kits are super flexible, by the way. Like, that's already super evident. So it's just gonna be good, bro. It's just gonna be too good. Look like those men are eating well, don't you think? I wonder if they had to play actual League of Legends a bit just to like understand how to put together the kits. I really hope they didn't. But you know, like I said, everyone's got to do their time. Maybe they did their time, you know, I don't fucking know. But yeah, that's all I wanted to talk about in specifics to like what I think about the game.